Dynamic, articulate, perceptive, courageous, outspoken.
Welcome back to the dojo. We have yet again another reaction. This time it's Sean Kingston and his mother's sentence is final. Goodbye forever. I don't think he's, well, they're not getting a life sentence, are they? They're not, come on. What? I don't even remember exactly what they did. All the more reason why I need to watch this video. Let's see, man. Let's see if they can tell us everything.
Sean Kingston.
Rapper Sean Kingston.
Kingston, whose real name is Kashawn Anderson, and his mother, Janice Turner, are accused of scamming several businesses out of more than $1 million worth of goods.
Yikes. A rough wake-up call for Sean Kingston and his mother. Now facing decades behind bars after being convicted of federal wire fraud charges. You might remember Sean from his 2007 hit, Beautiful Girls.
Yeah, I remember that song. Damn, all you beautiful girls. Yeah, that was a pretty good song. Didn't know they was doing wire fraud, and I didn't know it was millions of dollars worth of stuff. So once you hit, what is it? Was it $1,000? I know it's a misdemeanor under $1,000. I don't know what's above that. It's not a felony, is it? Is it a felony? Over $1,000? Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a legal guy, but damn, wire fraud, man. That record deal ain't do it, huh? Man, I feel for the guy, but you can't be scamming people or businesses out of money and thinking you gonna get away with it, man. Everything is tracked. The receipts are always there. Even if you don't got the physical receipt, there are digital receipts. There are timestamps and all that, bro. You can't, yo.
A catchy tune we couldn't get enough of. But one lyric now feels especially ironic. When I went away for doing my first crime. Art imitating life. Because now Kingston's facing prison for far bigger crimes than anything he ever sang about. Just recently, he was escorted out of court speechless as his mother was taken into custody. In an emotional moment, he begged agents to protect her. The real shocker? Their fraud operation spanned millions, scamming Reddit users and even using Kingston's ties to Justin Bieber to dupe people.
Wow, so he was on Reddit. He was on Reddit just scamming people out of money, man. Reddit, that's probably a place where you can get away with it because most of the people on there are anonymous. You don't know who they really are. It's a place where you don't really use pictures and all that. You just use a screen name and an avatar. So that's probably the easiest place to scam people. Man, that man really was going hard, huh?
With all of this on the table, Kingston's future is grim. He's facing up to 20 years behind bars.
Well, looks like it is a life sentence. I'm saying, like, they didn't do nothing to deserve a life sentence. Facing 20 years, that's basically a life sentence. That's what I see. Well, it looks like this is not a clickbait video. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Because I hate clickbait. Now we can really enjoy this video because we know it's not clickbait.
So, what happened to Sean Kingston? Once the voice behind those hits, today he's trending for all the wrong reasons. This story is wild. Stick around as we break it down. Let's rewind for a second. Before diving into all the fraud drama, it's important to understand who Sean Kingston really is. His rise to fame wasn't exactly a smooth ride. Kingston's early life was marked by hardship, starting with a breaking and entering charge at just 11 years old.
Wow.
He spent time in jail, went through boot camp, and even faced periods of homelessness, often sleeping in cars with his family. It was a tough road, no doubt. On top of that, his mother, Janice Turner, was incarcerated for identity fraud during his teenage years, adding even more strain to the family's already difficult circumstances. But despite all of that, Kingston managed to turn his life around. Discovered on YouTube, He was signed to Beluga Heights Records in 2007, and his career took off. His rise to fame was almost like a rags to riches story, going from a tough childhood to chart-topping hits. For a while, it seemed like Kingston had finally escaped those struggles. However, things started to take a turn. Kingston's career had a hard time keeping up with the success of his early hits. His follow-up albums, Tomorrow, 2009, and Back to Life, 2013, didn't perform as well. Back to Life didn't even chart, marking a noticeable dip in his commercial success.
Yeah, that makes sense because I didn't even know about neither one. I'm not a real big music fan. I was into music for a while, did a little songwriting, rapping, and all that, but I was never a big music fan. Then this guy just presented 2 albums that I never even heard of. So yeah, that makes sense. I never even heard of it. 2009.
Kingston went from topping the charts to struggling to stay relevant, and it's possible that this financial decline played a big part in what ultimately led to the fraud charges. Now here's where it gets absolutely wild. In May 2024, Kingston's South Florida mansion was raided by SWAT. Yep, a full-on SWAT team raid, the kind you only see in those intense police dramas.
So what was this man doing? Did he have weapons, like crazy hard drugs, like coming right off the boat? Like, why y'all raid this man? Like, I know he's scamming, but what was it? I know I'm pausing and I can get to it, but like, I'm trying to, like, what could he have possibly have done? Like, I don't think I've ever heard him in any type of violent crimes or anything like that. This man was just a big-ass thief.
Kingston was arrested alongside his mother on charges of fraud and theft. And there's actual footage of the raid showing just how serious the situation really was. The allegations against Sean Kingston and his mother are next-level serious. They've been accused of defrauding businesses out of over $1 million by using fraudulent documents and failed bank transfers. Their targets? Sellers of high-end goods like Cadillac Escalades, 6-figure designer watches, and luxury home theater systems. It's like they were trying to live large, but on a seriously shady budget. One of the most damaging pieces of evidence came from Fort Lauderdale jeweler Moshe Edery. He testified about Kingston providing a fake wire transfer screenshot for a $285,000 watch. Seriously, can you imagine having the nerve to send a fake screenshot for something worth nearly $300 grand? The audacity is off the charts. The evidence against Kingston and his mother is stacking up fast. Police even found voice memos and texts, including one where Kingston tells his mom to create fake receipts to stall payments.
Wow.
They literally have the receipts for the receipts. In one of the most incriminating texts, Kingston told his mother, "I told you to make fake receipts, so it looks like the transfer will be there in a couple of days." Major red flags everywhere. Now, it's important to remember that Kingston isn't just known for his music. He's faced some serious personal struggles over the years. In 2011, he was seriously injured in a jet ski accident in Miami, showing that his life has been full of ups and downs. But this fraud case hits different. It's not just about his career, but his family, and the very real possibility of spending decades behind bars. At 35 years old, Sean Kingston, whose real name is Kingston Anderson, finds himself at the center of a high-profile fraud case alongside his 62-year-old mother, Janice Turner. Federal prosecutors allege that the mother-son duo worked together to orchestrate a wire fraud scheme worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Ironically, the whole thing began not with a criminal charge, but with a civil lawsuit. The suit came from Verve Entertainment, a company that had entered into a business agreement with Kingston. According to their claim, Kingston wanted a custom home sound system. He promised Verve that if they gave him a discount, he'd return the favor by appearing in promotional videos for their company. He even claimed that his famous friend, Justin Bieber, would join him in the videos, an irresistible offer, he suggested.
I remember hearing about that, but I didn't take it serious because I'm like, I don't really care about Sean Kingston, but now you in national headlines now, boy. Like, you done scammed for over $1 million, bro. I guess, I guess his music really was not selling at all. And he reached a point of no return where he didn't think he could make any type of a comeback no matter who he worked with. Or he probably just didn't have the money to pay somebody to work with him. Like, I don't really know the ins and outs of the music game, but we ain't heard no hits from that man since Beautiful Girls. I think that was probably his only hit. Damn, yo. See, it becomes more of a struggle. It becomes more of a struggle to get up to the top and try to stay at the top than to just gradually, hold it down. Like, I would rather never make it if I would make it and lose my success. I would rather never make it. I would just rather just be a hopeful for the rest of my life.
Verve agreed, delivered the equipment, and installed the system. But Verve alleges that not only did those promised promotional videos never materialize, neither Kingston nor Bieber showed up, but they also never received a single dollar for the expensive sound system. That civil suit put everything into motion. As investigators began to dig deeper, what they uncovered went far beyond a single broken promise. What's really wild about this whole situation is how Kingston used his celebrity status to pull off these scams. According to court documents, he leveraged his fame by name-dropping big names like Justin Bieber and offering social media exposure to lure businesses into the scam. In one case, he even told a home entertainment company that he was Bieber's business partner to secure a $150,000 home theater system.
That's crazy. This man used other people's names just to try to get over it. They like, we can't trust you, but yeah, Justin Bieber, we know he's good. Yo, that's crazy. That is crazy. Gonna get this man involved in your bullshit, ain't got nothing to do with it. Gonna throw his name in there, bro. That's low life activity, bro. Like, bro, you made it. You made it. But just couldn't hold the weight of his celebrity, man. He couldn't keep making them bangers. That's sad, bro.
Bieber himself reportedly knew nothing about. Talk about clout chasing gone horribly wrong. The scale of the fraud is honestly mind-blowing. Kingston and his mother allegedly defrauded multiple businesses, from jewelers to car dealerships to luxury goods providers, using fake documents and wire transfers. The scheme went on for several months, from October 2023 to March 2024. And when you add it all up, the total amount they defrauded exceeds $1 million.
All right, so tell me this. Out of all the money and material wealth that they scammed for, did they at least try to open a legit business? Did they legit try to open up something or go into business to create something that didn't need the scam? Did they even try that? I'm curious. Did they even try that?
This wasn't just a small-time hustle. It was a full-blown operation. Here's a quick breakdown of some of the major items they allegedly scammed. An Audemars Piguet watch worth $285,000 from Fort Lauderdale jeweler Moshe Ederi.
So that's $250,000 plus right there.
A bulletproof Cadillac Escalade valued at $159,714 from an...
So let's go ahead. We're going to do the math. We're going to see what these numbers look like. I'm about to actually get out my calculator and see what the actual number is for this. Because I'm like, man. All right, so let's go back. The first 285,000 plus
$1,000 from valued at $150
plus 159,714. 159, 714. So that's 444,714 right there.
$9,714 from an exotic car dealership. A luxury bed valued at over $86,000 from
a luxury bed. What, you and your mother was sleeping on that shit together? You gonna pay all that money, man? So right there, that's $530,714.
a company called Mari, a $150,000 home theater system from a
Okay, so let's add another 150,000. That's 687.14.
luxury TV company. Various jewelry worth $480,000 from other businesses.
Okay, you said 480. That's already over a mil. That's already over $1 million. That's $1,160,714.
The trial itself was pretty intense. In March 2025, a Broward County jury took just 3 hours to find Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, guilty on charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and wire fraud. 3 hours.
Commit wire fraud and wire fraud? Am I tripping? Wire fraud and wire fraud. Okay. Maybe it was just a typo for the translator. I mean the text-to-speech generator or whatever it is that they used.
That's how quickly the jury was convinced of their guilt. The man who once sang about fire burning is now watching his future go up in flames. After the verdict, things got real for Sean Kingston. He was placed under house arrest with an electronic bracelet and required to post a hefty bond, including his $500,000 home and $200,000 in cash.
So the amount of stuff that he scammed for far outweighed the amount that his house was valued at. Damn. Yo scammed for more than what his own house was worth. Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, his mother, Janice Turner, was immediately taken into custody. It was an emotional moment, with Kingston pleading, "Protect my mother," as she was led away. No matter the circumstances, watching your mom get taken to jail hits different. But that wasn't the end of the saga. This whole legal mess kicked off in May 2024, when authorities finally decided enough was enough. A SWAT team raided Kingston's rented mansion in Southwest Ranches, Florida, and arrested his mother. The footage from the raid looked straight out of a movie. Officers in tactical gear, police cars surrounding the property, the whole dramatic scene. Kingston wasn't home at the time, but that didn't stop the law from catching up with him. He was arrested in California at Fort Irwin Army Base after a concert performance. Imagine going from a live show to being handcuffed. Talk about a major vibe check. TMZ caught the whole thing on video, and it's crazy how fast Kingston's life took a turn.
Man, that ain't crazy how fast it happened. It's crazy that he thought he was going to scam for over $1 million and get away with it. This man did a show and then went straight in handcuffs. That's like going to work and the police is waiting for you to get off. It's like you go to work and the police show up like half an hour before you about to get off, and now you getting hauled off to jail. Bro, on a Friday, that's gotta be the worst feeling. On a Friday, bro.
The legal drama only escalated from there. Kingston was booked into Broward Jail on June 4, 2024, facing charges related to the $1 million fraud case, with a bond set at $100,000. 2 months later, both he and his mother were indicted in Miami federal court, facing serious federal charges that could send them away for decades. The court appearances that followed were nothing short of dramatic. In a pre-trial hearing on August 26, 2024, both Kingston and his mother pleaded not guilty, with Kingston's attorney even trying to get one of the charges dismissed. But the prosecution wasn't backing down. They had the evidence, both literal and figurative, to back their case. Let's break down just how serious these charges were for Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner. Both were hit with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. So, if the sentences ran consecutively, that's a possible 100 years behind bars.
Wow. People get less for murder. These people is not playing about their money. Oh my God, these people is not playing about their money. 20, you looking at 100 years for fraud, bro. For fraud, bro. So when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's worse to steal than to kill. It is worse to steal than to kill. If you're going to look at the American legal system, it is worse to steal than to kill. But when you really think about it, stealing is everything, because like when you talk about sinful things, everything is stealing. If you take somebody's life, what is that? You're stealing their life. If you commit infidelity with someone's wife, that's you stealing their love away. So stealing really is the worst thing, but I just can't put it above killing, man. Man.
Now, sentences usually run concurrently, but still, this was no small matter. They were facing a major amount of prison time. The trial itself was full of drama. It lasted 5 days, with the prosecution presenting 33 fake wire transfer receipts as evidence. 33. One of the standout moments came when Fort Lauderdale jeweler Moshe Eder took the stand. He detailed how Kingston had given him a fake wire transfer screenshot for a $285,000 watch. Eder also played a voice memo in court where Kingston promised to introduce him to celebrities for future business opportunities, saying, "I'm going to have you at all my video shoots and red carpets." But those promises turned out to be nothing but lies.
What's crazy to me, right? What's crazy to me is when you're a high-profile individual, you can't be committing crimes like the average Joe. You can't. Too many people know who you are. Too many people know how to find you. Too many people know too much about you. Like, that's kind of like real stupid. Yeah, man. Sean Kingston, huh? Sean, I need a second to really just like process this, because yo, this is wild, bro. You a celebrity scamming like somebody who ain't got shit. That's crazy. You could have probably like no bullshit. This man could have went online and tried to get his fans to do a GoFundMe or something. I guarantee you he probably could have did a GoFundMe if he wanted to open up a business. Like anything. Like he could have did a personal concert for his fans. I know this man had fans. He could have said, "Look, y'all, I'm down on my luck, not really making a whole bunch of money. So what I want to do is I want to do a show for my fans. It's going to cost this much for the tickets. This is how you get the tickets. The show is going to be such and such on such and such date. If you didn't buy a ticket, you know what I mean, by such and such time, and that's it. That's it." He could have did something like that. At least that's what I believe. He could have did. I'm sure he had some fans, man. I'm sure he had some fans. That man just said, I'm going to take, man. That's crazy. Alright, that took me a little break. I needed to get away from it for a second. Come back. Alright, let's continue this video and see what's going on.
And as a result, Eder lost his credibility and was reportedly fired.
Let me take that back.
And red carpets. But those promises turned out to be nothing but lies. And as a result, Ader lost his credibility and was reportedly fired. On the flip side, the defense tried to flip the script. Turner's team argued that she was simply protecting her son from scammers, claiming she always intended to pay back the debts. Meanwhile, Kingston's defense painted him as a clueless kid who didn't understand finances. But the jury wasn't convinced.
He understood
After
scamming.
just 3 hours of deliberation, they found both Kingston and Turner guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. Kingston was reportedly emotional, begging marshals to protect my mother as she was taken into custody. It was a heartbreaking moment, as no matter what you've done, seeing your mom led away in handcuffs has to be devastating. So, what happens next? Well, the sentencing for Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, is scheduled for July 11th, 2025.
That's 10 days.
That means they're both in a kind of legal limbo, just waiting to find out their fates. Right now, Kingston is under house arrest with electronic monitoring, while Turner remains in custody. The judge actually cited Turner's past criminal record as the reason for denying her bail, specifically pointing to her 2006 conviction for bank fraud, for which she served 16 months in prison. This isn't the first time Turner's faced legal trouble, and that definitely doesn't help her case. There's a deeper layer to this story when you look at Kingston's childhood. His mother was incarcerated for identity fraud during his teenage years, and Kingston himself had his own brush with the law as a young kid. At just 11 years old, he was charged with breaking and entering, which led to 21 days in jail and a stint in boot camp. His early life was filled with hardships, including periods of homelessness where his family had to sleep in cars. It's the classic rags to riches story, except the riches didn't last, and now it looks like the cycle of struggle might be repeating itself. What really complicates things is the role Turner played in this whole operation. The judge described her as the operator, fixer, and accountant behind the fraud scheme, managing the deliveries and making sure the transactions went through smoothly. This wasn't just Kingston acting alone. It looks like this was a full-on family affair, which makes the whole situation even messier. Both Kingston and Turner's attorneys have
Wait a second, was this man outside in booty shorts? Okay.
the whole situation even messier. Both Kingston and Turner's attorneys have indicated plans to appeal the verdict. Kingston's attorney, Zelka Bzanic, said they didn't agree with the verdict and expressed gratitude that Kingston was allowed to stay out on bond until sentencing. Turner's attorney, Alberto Dominguez, also plans to challenge the decision. But honestly, the chances of a successful appeal seem slim, given the overwhelming evidence presented during the trial. Let's dive into what the possible sentencing might look like. Each charge they're facing carries a maximum of 20 years, but it's pretty uncommon for first-time offenders to get hit with the full sentence, especially in white-collar crime cases. However, this isn't Turner's first run-in with fraud charges, which could mean a tougher sentence for her. Plus, the sheer scale of the fraud, over $1 million, and the number of victims involved will likely play a big role in how the judge decides to sentence them. Federal sentencing guidelines consider a lot of different factors, like the amount of money at stake, the defendant's past criminal record, and whether they take responsibility for their actions. Neither Kingston nor Turner pleaded guilty or showed any remorse during the trial, so they probably won't get any breaks for accepting responsibility. Legal experts are speculating that Kingston might face anywhere from 5 to 15 years behind bars, while Turner, because of her criminal history, could end up closer to the maximum. But honestly, this is all just guesswork. We won't know for sure until the sentencing hearing in July. Another thing to consider is restitution. The total amount defrauded is over $1 million, and
Gotta pay that money back somehow.
the court might order Kingston and Turner to pay that back to the victims. Given Kingston's financial struggles, that could be a tough pill to swallow, and it might lead to asset seizures or wage garnishments down the line. The fall from grace for Sean Kingston has been nothing short of dramatic, and fans have been more than vocal about it. Since news broke of his conviction, the internet has been buzzing. Over on X, formerly Twitter, the reactions have been pouring in fast and furious. One user, at Crawford Dante, posted on March 31st, 2025, saying, "Yo, Sean Kingston and his moms just got hit guilty on that fraud tip over $1 million and fake flexing on cars and ice from beautiful girls to court tears. Son Wilden, Philadelphia don't play that. Keep it a buck or get bucked." Basically, this sums up the shock and disappointment a lot of fans are feeling right now. Another user on X didn't pull any punches with their comment either. Has Crypto Drugs 101 chimed in. Shan Kingston referencing people trying to break him daily after a fraud conviction is wild. Accountability nowhere in sight. It's clear they're frustrated by Kingston's seeming inability to own up to his actions. On Reddit, the conversation has been just as heated, with the typical Reddit humor thrown into the mix. In a thread titled, "Sean Kingston Facing Decades in Prison Following Indictment Over Wire Fraud Charges," users couldn't resist throwing in some references to Kingston's own songs like "Somebody Called 911" and "Ain't No Beautiful Girls Where He's Going." Dark humor for sure, but it shows that his music is still a part of the conversation, even if
Ain't no beautiful girls where he going. Bro, that's crazy, yo. Y'all wild, yo. The internet don't miss.
it's being mentioned in a much more ironic light now. What's particularly intriguing about the Reddit threads is the personal stories people are sharing. Some users have recalled Kingston's behavior in the past, like allegedly not paying bills at a transportation job and even demanding free popcorn while in Ireland.
What?
These stories suggest that Kingston's financial struggles and sense of entitlement may have been a pattern long before the fraud charges came to light. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly, writing, "I'm guessing he made a not massive but decent amount of money, and had he been really smart with it, he could have lived comfortably. But clearly, he makes bad decisions." This insight taps into the deeper frustration many feel about Kingston's downfall. He had opportunities that so many would envy, yet poor financial management and questionable choices led him down this road. In another Reddit thread discussing Kingston's home raid, one user added, "Washed-up celebs trying to maintain a lavish lifestyle with no money at all. Not surprising, but still fascinating that it still happens." This highlights a recurring theme. Kingston's apparent need to maintain a facade of wealth and success, even when he could no longer afford it, eventually leading to desperate actions. Meanwhile, YouTube has become a hotspot for coverage of Kingston's legal troubles. CBS Miami's video, rapper Sean Kingston's mother found guilty in federal fraud case, has racked up 8,920 views and 52 comments.
Wow.
Hot 97's video, Sean Kingston and his mother found guilty of $1 million fraud scheme, has earned 198 likes. Even major media outlets have jumped in on the story, with reports from Variety, The New York Times, and TMZ diving into the verdict and its potential fallout.
Damn, boy, your case is nationwide. Everybody know what you did. It's really over. This is not a clickbait video. Like, this man might be going away for the rest of his life, bro. He might be going away for the rest of his life because he wanted to keep living that lifestyle, but wasn't earning. He wasn't in that tax bracket. He was not in that tax bracket. Yo trying to skip tax brackets.
Clearly, the case has captured widespread public interest, not just in music circles, but as a cautionary tale about the fleeting nature of celebrity and the consequences of poor choices. While much of the public reaction to Kingston's legal troubles has been harsh, not all the responses have been filled with criticism and mockery. Some fans have expressed a sense of nostalgia for Kingston's music and a certain sadness over what has become of his career. An older Reddit thread from October 1st, 2021, titled, "Folk of Reddit, You Ever Just Wake Up and Wonder What Happened to Sean Kingston?" saw users reflecting on his hits and questioning his career path long before these legal issues surfaced. This shows that, despite the disappointment, there's still a lingering connection to his music and a curiosity about how things went so wrong. Looking at all these reactions together, the overall sentiment is one of surprise and disappointment, but with hints of nostalgia for the early days of Kingston's career. An article from Rolling Out on April 2, 2025, noted that the public's reaction to his conviction has been largely unsympathetic, with social media flooded with comments criticizing his financial management. This is in line with what we're seeing online: shocked reactions, plenty of criticism, and even some dark humor. So, what's next for Sean Kingston and his mother? As mentioned, their sentencing is set for July 11, 2025, and both could face significant prison time. Kingston is currently under house arrest with electronic monitoring, while his mother remains in custody. Their lawyers have indicated plans to appeal the verdict, but it could be months or even years before that process is resolved. If Kingston does end up serving prison time, questions about his career post-release will arise. The music industry has seen artists bounce back after legal issues, but the severity of these charges and the damage to his public image could make a full career revival difficult. Kingston hasn't released a chart-topping album since 2013.
That's over a decade. It was more than 10 years ago he had a hit. All that money done dried up. And this man got a chain with crayons. Come on, bro. Crayons. I guess you want to be different. That's just, man, come on, man. Crayons.
And this legal drama certainly isn't doing him any favors. One potential path for Kingston could be using this tumultuous period as material for a comeback, whether through a new album or even a memoir. Many artists have turned their personal struggles into powerful art, and Kingston's journey, from homelessness to fame and now to legal troubles, could strike a chord with audiences, provided it's shared with genuine reflection and honesty. However, this would require a level of accountability and self-awareness that some critics feel Kingston has yet to fully show. Another thing to consider is Kingston's personal brand and image. Despite his music career slowing down, he still boasts 8.4 million likes on Facebook and a sizable following across other social media platforms. This suggests that, even if his career is on the decline, he still has an audience. How he chooses to engage with these fans, particularly during and after his legal battles, could significantly affect his future prospects. It's also worth noting that Kingston's legal issues come at a time when the music industry is putting more emphasis on authenticity and integrity. With the rise of cancel culture and constant social media scrutiny, the public's tolerance for celebrity misconduct has been shrinking. If Kingston hopes to rebuild his career, he'll need to tread carefully and navigate this new landscape thoughtfully. And then there's Kingston's mother, Janice Turner, whose role in the fraud scheme is hard to ignore. Described by the judge as the operator, fixer, and accountant, it's clear that she played a key part in orchestrating the scheme. Given her past convictions for bank fraud and identity fraud, Turner could face an even harsher sentence than her son. The dynamic between mother and son adds an extra layer of complexity to this case, raising questions about family influence and the responsibilities that come with it. This case also brings to light some deeper issues within celebrity culture. Kingston reportedly leveraged his fame to secure luxury items, even using high-profile connections like Justin Bieber to gain trust from businesses. This highlights the power of celebrity in today's society, and how that power can sometimes be abused. It also raises important questions about the pressure celebrities face to maintain a lavish lifestyle, even when their financial situation no longer supports it. From a legal standpoint, this case serves as a stark reminder of the serious consequences of wire fraud. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. And even if Kingston and Turner receive sentences on the lower end, they're still facing significant prison time. It could also serve as a cautionary tale for others who might be tempted to engage in similar fraudulent behavior. For Kingston's victims, the verdict might offer some sense of closure, but the financial damage has already been done. Moshe Adori, the Fort Lauderdale jeweler who lost a $285,000 watch, testified that the incident cost him his credibility and even led to his termination.
Damn.
Other businesses, like the exotic car dealership that was defrauded out of a $159,714.90 Cadillac Escalade, may never recover from their losses. Even if Kingston and Turner are ordered to pay restitution, the sentencing, set for July 11, 2025, will be the next pivotal moment in this saga. Will the judge impose the maximum sentences, or will there be some leniency? And if they do serve time, will it be the full sentence, or might they be granted early release for good behavior? Another key question is Kingston's legacy. Will he be remembered for hits like Beautiful Girls, or will this fraud case ultimately overshadow his musical contributions? Time will tell, but one thing is clear. The Sean Kingston fraud case has sparked widespread attention and provoked important conversations about celebrity responsibility and the consequences of our actions. At the heart of it all, this case is a reminder that no matter how high you rise, the law applies to everyone.
Yep.
And actions, no matter who you are, always come with consequences.
Yes, they do.
As this story unfolds and the sentencing approaches, the future of Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, remains uncertain. Will they face the full weight of their actions, or will there be leniency in their sentences? And how will this case impact Kingston's career and legacy moving forward? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the consequences fit the crime, or is there more to the story? Drop a comment.
Well, Sean Kingston, I hope it works out for you, brother, man. Even though you did things, you stole from people, massive amounts of wealth. You just stole, fraud. Like, I hope God has mercy on your soul, because you know damn well the judge is not. You know damn well the judge is not. They don't care about your celebrity. Them people want their damn money. And that's the bottom line. That being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, y'all. Toodaloo.